Ryan Reynolds. The charming, wisecracking, endlessly self-deprecating Canadian who's managed to win over Hollywood, the internet, and probably even your grandmother. From romantic comedies to superhero blockbusters, Reynolds has built a career on his razor-sharp wit, impeccable comedic timing, and unfairly symmetrical face. But for every perfectly delivered Deadpool quip, there's a flop or an eyebrow-raising moment that reminds us, even Ryan Reynolds isn't perfect. So today, we're taking a deep dive into everything wrong with Ryan Reynolds. Sorry to interrupt, but subscribing might just make you as charming as Ryan Reynolds. No guarantees, but worth a shot. Ryan Reynolds' upbringing. Ryan Reynolds was spawned in Vancouver, British Columbia. A place so polite, it's basically a cradle of eternal niceness. Growing up as the youngest of 4 boys, he allegedly honed his comedic skills to survive his brothers. Given how chirpy and quick-witted he is now, it must have been open season on Ryan back then, with him eventually clawing his way to the top of the sibling pecking order by dropping a million sarcastic one-liners. His dad was a Mountie-turned-food wholesaler, truly living that Canadian dream. And his mom worked in retail, which seems perfectly normal unless you consider how abnormal it is for a kid to come out of that environment with the comedic reflexes of a hyper-caffeinated talk show host. The rom-com overload. Before we were assaulted by Deadpool's filthy mouth, Ryan Reynolds was the diet soda version of Hugh Grant in the rom-com world. The Proposal, Definitely Maybe, Just Friends. He's the trifecta of snarky guy with a heart of gold roles. It was like a never-ending conveyor belt of the same Reynolds smirk, the same last-minute romantic revelation, and the same predictable happy ending. Sure, these movies were sometimes amusing, but it got to the point where every time you saw his face on a poster, you knew you'd be subjected to 90 minutes of wisecracks and a painfully forced moral about love. And let's not forget Van Wilder, the movie that somehow managed to be both a stepping stone and an unholy anchor in his early career. Congrats, Ryan. You're the reason your college nephew still thinks stuffing pastries with questionable substances is the height of comedy. The glow stick suit disaster. If cinematic sins were a bright radioactive color, Green Lantern would be the chartreuse beacon calling aliens to wipe us out for our poor taste.
Wow! I know, right?
Reynolds zipped himself into a CGI abomination so tragic, it made him look like a rejected Tron cosplayer. The movie itself was a dumpster fire of cosmic proportions, nonsensical plot, undercooked villains, and dialogue that could cure insomnia.
Fear is what stops you and makes you weak.
Reynolds himself can't stop ripping on it, which we appreciate. But no amount of self-deprecating Twitter jokes can unburn the retinas scarred by that hideous glowing bodysuit. Hal Jordan deserved better, and so did we. Too perfect for his own good? Let's get this straight. Ryan Reynolds is a living Ken doll with comedic timing, and it's downright suspicious. He's funny, jacked, and married to Blake Lively, a woman who could probably make stepping on a Lego look glamorous. Together, they have a brood of Instagram-perfect offspring. It's like some cosmic glitch made him the embodiment of winning. That's all well and good, but come on, where's the meltdown? Where's the out-of-touch, I don't know how a grocery store works moment? We're tired of his perfectly staged, oh, I'm just a normal dad who also happens to be unbelievably successful routine. Give us at least one TMZ-worthy tantrum, Ryan. Live a little. The Aviation Gin marketing blitz. Ryan Reynolds didn't just stop at being Hollywood's Mr. Adorable. He had to become an advertising tycoon, too. Aviation Gin is plastered everywhere, from YouTube pre-rolls to your grandmother's Facebook feed. Sure, the ads are funny at first. Then it's just an onslaught of Reynolds telling us how witty he is while trying to convince us to drink responsibly. But also often. Remember the days when you could just skip an ad? Not with Reynolds' smug grin telling you that you're missing out on the best gin since juniper berries were invented. Ryan, we get it. You found your calling as a perpetual pitchman, but how about letting our bank accounts and livers catch a break? The Deadpool overload. Deadpool was the role Ryan Reynolds was apparently born to play, or so we're told every time he opens his mouth. Yes, it's hilarious. Yes, it's meta. But let's face it, the shtick gets old when you've heard it for the 4,562nd time. Reynolds is basically the clown at a birthday party who was great for the first hour, but now the cake's been cut and he's still in the corner cracking jokes. Enough with the chimichanga references, the cameo rumors, the will they or won't they with Wolverine. We get it. You found your golden goose, but at some point, milking that goose just starts to feel creepy. Talking about milking a goose, have you ever tried milking a goose? Tell me your story down below. His nice guy persona. Ryan Reynolds is the human golden retriever of Hollywood. Loyal, friendly, and always wagging his tail at the camera. But is he really that nice? Or is it just a carefully curated brand? His social media is a shrine to self-effacing humor and the "oh my god, I'm so normal" posts. The cynics among us can't help but suspect there's a 60-page PR manual behind every spontaneous tweet. If there's any skeleton in his closet, it's probably wearing a polite sweater and apologizing for taking up space. Maybe one day we'll see Ryan's dark side, like him cutting in line at Starbucks or ignoring a Girl Scouts cookie pitch. Until then, we can only assume he's hiding a closet full of unsent Canadian apology letters. The Free Guy debate. Free Guy was the surprise hit that turned out to be a not-so-surprising Ryan Reynolds vehicle. Sure, the movie was entertaining. If you like seeing Reynolds basically play the same wide-eyed, sarcastic doofus for the 87th time. He's good at it, obviously, but maybe that's the problem. Isn't it time to shift gears, Ryan? Give us something besides lovable scamp who cracks jokes while the world explodes around him. Instead, we get more of the same, wrapped in a video game setting and cameos. It's fun, but it's as predictable as your uncle's jokes at Thanksgiving. Van Wilder. Let's not forget the gem that forced Reynolds into the world spotlight, or at least into DVD rental queues. Van Wilder is a relic from an era when we thought American Pie knockoffs were the pinnacle of comedy. Warm apple pie, anyone? Reynolds' comedic timing was there, sure, but the movie itself is about as nutritious for your brain as a microwave burrito. From questionable pranks to cringe-inducing jokes, it's the cinematic equivalent of an athlete's foot infection. Persistent, irritating, and best forgotten. Yet here we are, forced to remember that Reynolds' big break involved humiliating scenes that still linger like a frat house smell. Battle of the Ryans. In the Grand Battle of the Ryans, we've got Ryan Reynolds and Ryan Gosling, two Canadian exports who make the rest of us look like a pile of Tim Hortons donut holes. One's a smirking, wisecracking golden retriever, the other's a quietly brooding cat that might claw your face if you look at it wrong. Fans can't stop mixing them up, which is understandable. But if you're not sure whether you're looking at Reynolds or Gosling, just check the expression. If it's a deadpan stare of existential angst, it's Gosling. If it's a face that looks like it's about to pounce on a one-liner, it's Reynolds. The Blake Lively Troll Wars. Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively's social media banter is like watching a meticulously choreographed dance of "look at us." We're so adorable and normal. They roast each other, troll each other's birthdays, and post staged candid photos. Sure, it's amusing, but isn't it a little too perfect? The rest of us are busy trying not to kill our houseplants, and these two are out here planning their next viral couple tweet like it's a UN resolution. It's enough to make you want to throw your phone into the nearest river just to escape the curated cuteness. The R.I.P.D. fiasco. Remember the movie R.I.P.D? No? Well, that's probably because you're actively repressing it. In this joyless paranormal buddy cop disaster, Reynolds teams up with Jeff Bridges to create a cinematic black hole of entertainment. The result? A movie that basically plagiarized Men in Black with ghosts instead of aliens, minus any of the humor or originality. Reynolds' performance was so phoned in, it felt like even he was bored by his own snark. Not every script can be saved by a half-hearted smirk, Ryan. Maybe next time, read the script before you sign on. his Red Notice safe bet. What do you get when you combine Ryan Reynolds, Dwayne Johnson, and Gal Gadot with a budget bigger than a small nation's GDP? Yup, Red Notice. The cinematic embodiment of a corporate PowerPoint about maximizing global box office potential. Reynolds basically plays himself again. Surprise, surprise, wisecracking and quipping his way through a by-the-numbers action plot. Sure, it broke streaming records, but that's what happens when you dump a truckload of money on 3 of Hollywood's most bankable stars. It's like junk food, tasty for a moment, but leaves you feeling empty afterward. Too many side hustles. Ryan Reynolds isn't content with acting. Oh no, he's out here collecting companies like Pokemon cards, Aviation Gin, Mint Mobile, a soccer team, possibly an underground network of artisanal beaver farms. Well, I'm only speculating, but give it some time. If you can buy it, he'll brand it. It's like he's more interested in building a billionaire empire than entertaining us with subpar action flicks. Next thing you know, he'll start selling Ryan Reynolds approved oxygen. At some point, you have to wonder, does he actually read scripts anymore, or is he too busy checking stock options? Turbo. Turbo, the animated movie that dared to ask, what if a snail could go really, really fast? And we responded, why though? Reynolds voiced the titular snail, giving it his signature chipper persona.
And it looks like the winner is Turbo!
The end result? A forgettable footnote in DreamWorks' catalog that had about as much staying power as a snail on a freeway. It's almost impressive how Reynolds can star in a movie about a breakneck snail and still make it feel slow. At least Detective Pikachu gave him some comedic room to breathe. Turbo felt like an extended car commercial for snails. The 6 Underground explosion. Michael Bay plus Ryan Reynolds equals a film so loaded with explosions, you can practically feel the concussion waves through your living room. 6 Underground was an all-out assault on the senses, with Reynolds delivering his trademark sarcasm while everything around him blew up in a neon haze. It was like watching a fireworks show put on by a toddler with ADHD. Plot? Character development? Hilarious illusions. You get cars flipping, glass shattering, and Reynolds' cameo laughing at everything. Even his comedic timing got lost in the jump cuts. Congrats on making us all a little bit motion sick, Ryan. His feud with Hugh Jackman. The Ryan Reynolds. Hugh Jackman feud is basically Hollywood's version of a soap opera that refuses to end. They hurl insults and playful barbs at each other, delighting fans who lap it up like it's some behind-the-scenes war. But come on, do we really buy it? It's the most staged rivalry since professional wrestling. Sure, they're funny, but let's face it, this is probably orchestrated by their managers during weekly branding synergy meetings. It works, but it's also as manufactured as a boy band's origin story. The 2 guys and a girl legacy. If you're old enough to remember this late 90s sitcom, congratulations! You witnessed the embryonic form of Ryan Reynolds' sarcasm. 2 Guys and a Girl was an ABC series that included a laugh track so relentless, it's a wonder anyone could hear the dialogue. While Reynolds' comedic chops were evident, the show is now buried under the accumulated cringe of outdated jokes. It's like looking at old photos of your high school haircut. You see the beginnings of something that would eventually get better, but you also can't help but recoil in horror at the style choices. Ryan Reynolds' relationships. Before settling down with Blake Lively, Reynolds made headlines by dating Alanis Morissette, proving that, yes, irony can come in the form of a comedic bro and an angsty singer. Then came Scarlett Johansson, a marriage that gave tabloids enough material to fuel their nonsense for years. You have to wonder what date with Ryan Reynolds is like. Do you get a genuine conversation or a stand-up routine about how cute your top looks? Ryan Reynolds' finances. Somewhere along the line, Ryan Reynolds decided that being an A-list actor wasn't enough. He's now a one-man Wall Street with net worth estimates that might make Elon Musk raise an eyebrow. From aviation to communication, the man's more diversified than your grandma's garden. While it's impressive to watch him collect checks like a pro athlete in his prime, You have to question whether his next project will be a movie or a Times Square ad for his next brand acquisition. Maybe we'll see him star in Deadpool 4: The Buyout soon. Ryan Reynolds and the Oscars. For all his popularity and meme-worthy moments, Ryan Reynolds has yet to cradle an Oscar. To be fair, the Academy generally ignores superhero movies and comedic performances that don't involve crying while hugging an emaciated puppy. Reynolds seems to be fine with being the king of internet virality rather than an Academy darling. Does he want that little gold statue? Maybe. But the second he wins, we'll probably get a 10-part Aviation Gin Instagram story about it, so maybe the Academy is doing us a favor. Ryan Reynolds gossip. Unlike most celebrities, Ryan Reynolds' gossip usually revolves around silly feud tweets, surprise business deals, or how many times he's tried to troll Wolverine in a week. He doesn't have a mountain of scandals. No hidden children, no public freakouts, no bigoted rants caught on tape. Just a never-ending parade of memes and ads. On the bright side, you're not forced to read about him doing anything truly awful. On the downside, it means we can't tear him apart for anything serious. So we're left with complaining about how happy, rich, and annoyingly perfect he seems to be. And that's it, folks! What's your favorite Ryan Reynolds movie? Let me know down below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. See you next time.